Hey y'all, it's your girl Barbie J here. Welcome to my channel, June BLC. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama Sistas, Season 8, Episode 18, War to Roses. I kind of don't understand what that means. I think I missed something in the text where somebody must have said something about War to Roses. If anybody knows what that title is talking about, please put it down in the comment section for me because I'm sure I missed something. Anyway, before we get started, if you're new here or if you're returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button. Then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel or even when I go live. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button. Write a comment and join the conversation and share because sharing is caring. So this episode starts off with Jordan and Andy arriving to Billy Jake's and they see Penelope and Robin there. So they walk over to Robin and Penelope after seeing her being messy by rubbing on Robin's beard and stroking it while Andy watches, trying to get up under her skin and just being plain messy. Then Penelope proceeds to be rude by calling Andy her, like, what are you doing here with her? And she said, her has a name. She said, I know it has a name. She said, but it'd be rude to say it here. So she was going to call her something else, if you know what I mean. So then we see that Penelope is really jealous of Andy because both men are focused on Andy after she was rude to her and Penelope had to say something about it. But Andy says to Robin, after he tells them to sit down, she says to him, isn't the office a more appropriate place to discuss legal strategies with a client? And boy, oh boy, did that bother Penelope. And that's when Robin decided, you know what? It's getting late. Let me take you to your brother's house and we'll discuss this later. And so they got up and left. And Penelope was staring Andy down as she stared her and Robin down, you know. Then after they're gone, Jordan had the nerve to ask Andy, why did the colors leave out of her face when she saw Robin with Penelope? So Andy's trying to say that it had no effect on her. And he tells her she is as much addicted to male attention as your friend Danny is to vaping. First of all, don't put Danny in this. And you need to stop that. Everybody likes attention. But who are you to try to call her out on it, you know? And FYI, Jordan, your boy Tony likes to vape as well. So don't get it twisted, homeboy. But anyway, Andy finally gets up to walk out and leave, telling him he's delusional. And she gets all the way over to under the door and he stands up in the restaurant and yells, you know that you're still in love with Robin? And she said, yes, I am, or something like that. And I said, what in the world is going on here? So they end up talking and have a little talk. And she ends up telling him that she cared for him a lot, like she never loved him. I'm sitting there going, that makes no damn sense whatsoever. Because you were in love with Jordan. Because why would you go and marry Gary and go through that whole thing to protect Jordan if you was just in like with him? Who puts themselves through that just because you're in care with him? I cared about you. I liked you. That makes no sense. But anyway, this is TP land. So a lot of stuff that we see here makes no sense. And the fact that they parted on good terms the way they did, that kind of made no sense to me as well. But that's how they wrote the script. That's how it went down. So now back over at the airport, we see Danny is almost being chastised by Tony, if you ask me. And she said, I can't believe you're blaming me. This man sexually harassed me. He told me that I got in the program on my back. You know, and she started making jokes and he's like, this is serious, Danny. He said, what you did was equally unprofessional. You know, you assaulted a coworker in front of people. You should have thought about the consequences of your actions before, you know, letting your emotions get the best of you. And she's like, thank you, Krisha. You know, like you trying to be my damn therapist and stuff. But she told him, you weren't trying to be professional when we was playing naked bingo. He's like, shh, don't be saying that out loud. I said, see, he was being unprofessional so many times, coming out there by her counter, wanting to do this and do that to her. So who is he to talk about being professional? Let's be real. So Danny calls Fatima and tells her what happened. She tells her that Tony was shaming her for what happened when the other guy started it. So Fatima tells her to take a beat and she'll check on her later. But when Fatima hangs up, she talks to Zach and says she's worried about our girl. So Zach ends up going to the airport to check on her like a good friend. Danny updates Zach on what she knows thus far, which was that she was out of the leadership program. And she was happy about that. She didn't even care. So then he tells her whatever she needs, he got her because she's one of his best friends. And they do a big hug. But then at the end of the day, Tony comes out there and lets Danny know that she's been suspended without pay. And she is like really shocked. I don't think that's fair though. I'm hoping she sues that company. I hope she can sue them because you are not supposed to just stand there and get sexually harassed by this guy like that. And it happened more than once. And Tony is part of the problem. And I am so disappointed. I feel like he might have thrown Danny under the bus. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. So now we have Zach and Fatima. They're getting ready to go over to Tamara and Hayden to see them, to see if they could get one of them to drop dime on the other to expose who might have stabbed Gary. But before they could go, they get that call from Danny. So what ends up happening is Zach goes to the airport to see Danny and Fatima goes to see Tamara. So Fatima arrives like 10 seconds after Hayden leaves because Hayden got a call from Gary. So he leaves and goes to the hospital. Fatima knocks on the door. Tamara opens and then tries to close it in Fatima's face. And she says she don't have time for no mess. And Fatima tell her, well, you better make some time because she has proof that her play husband Hayden is the one who tried to kill Gary. And Tamara just stood there and looked at her. But we all know Tamara going to try to deny it or some kind of way, even though she was already yelling at and blaming Hayden for trying to stab Gary. Now, next we have Karen and Aaron. He's asking her, does she only want to get back with him because Zach is building a life with Fatima? Um, Y'all, I gotta say, that's one dumb question because Zach has been building a life with Fatima even further back than that dumb letter writing episode. And up until season 7, Karen still didn't want anything to do with Aaron. Anyways, Karen lies and says that her feelings for him has nothing to do with Zach. And Aaron John believes her. Aaron John, remember that, y'all. But Karen needs to go back and find out the deal with that woman and remember why she no longer trusted Aaron nor wanted to be with him. Other than she being still stuck on wanting to get back with Zach, you know. But anywho, Karen tells Aaron that Zach won't be a problem anymore, and she asks him to give her 10 minutes, and she'll prove it to him. So she puts on a nightgown, and then she and Aaron get it on. Let's get it on. Sugar. Let's get it on. Anyway, but I'm a bit disappointed in Aaron taking this opportunity when he know Karen was just in the hospital and she just about 8 months pregnant with twins. I'm like, good job, preacher man. You going for the sex and everything when you could be causing some kind of harm to these babies. You know what I mean? Anyway, I was also wondering, where's Miss Lisa? Can't she just walk in on them and catch them? Which it seems like that's what's going to happen next week. But I was like, are they not thinking? You know, come on now. You're supposed to be watching her, not satisfying your desires. So now we're over at Brookhaven Bank and Trust, and Paige comes to Sabrina's office, and she says, knock, knock. And I don't know why Sabrina got a little snippy with her about that. And she's like, well, there's no door. So I thought saying knock, knock would be the same difference. And Sabrina mumbles under her breath, white privilege. I was like, really, Sabrina? That she was being kind. Everybody else just walks the freak in. She was being nice. But anyway, Paige gives her the work or whatever she has and tells her that she and Maurice are going to be taking their break together. And she's like, wait a minute, what? So she has her come in and sit down. And she said, I usually don't want to know all the information, but why y'all enemies taking, break together? So Paige tells them everything that happened and stuff. And, Sabrina's like, okay, cool, whatever. Then Paige decides she wants to apologize to Sabrina for the things that she said to her when she first got back. Sabrina wasn't trying to accept Paige's apology right away. She was making it really difficult for her. And Paige admitted that she was jealous of Sabrina and said that she admired her, and also added that she's one of the strongest women she knows. But Sabrina needs to check herself, if you ask me, because whether affirmative action played a role or not, she mainly got that position because of what Maurice did to get Paige suspended. Remember, he did that lie and said she was out there having sex with the customers or something like that behind the bank. Anyway, so Sabrina says she's, doesn't feel strong these days. And Paige asked if everything was okay. And she said she was a good listener. And then, this is the funny part. Sabrina says, "Oh, my friend Pam said that earlier." And I'm sitting here going, when did you and Pam become friends? When did that happen? Somebody put it down in the comment section because I'm sure confused. I know we did discuss it on the live last night, but this is what are we in? This is Tyler Perry land, y'all. We in it. Anyway, Sabrina reluctantly tells Paige what's going on and shares a story about her cousin who's 35 and can't have children because of an emergency hysterectomy. Then Paige shares a story about her sister being diagnosed with endometriosis. And they both talked about how they had Cabbage Patch dolls growing up and they wanted kids. So that's what was going on. And then the next thing you know, Rich shows up and he goes, hello. Well, shoot. I thought knock knock was better than him coming in there saying, hello, she don't have a door. Anywho, Paige gets up to leave and Sabrina stops her and says, thank you. And Paige looks back at her and says, thank you. And I was thought that was really nice because I guess Paige can be a nice person. Sometimes when you're raised by some evil type of people, like Paige seemed to be her Mima, you can't help it. It's instilled in you what's in you. And it's hard to break out of that stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to Sabrina and Rich. He asked, can we talk? And she said, sure, we can, but not here. So he said, how about dinner? And she said, okay. So they're going to meet tonight for dinner to talk. But somebody told me that she's going to break up with him. And if so, kudos. I am happy and thrilled. I have my fingers crossed and I'm praying about it. Anywho, there was a quick scene between Maurice and Pam when he was telling her all about that rude customer that was in there and how Paige stood up for him. And Pam asks Maurice if he and Grayson use the roots to riches anymore. And Maurice was saying what he does and puts it in the microwave and all of that stuff. So she's really like surprised. So I think Pam's wheels are turning in her head and she might start using that roots to riches in another way other than slicking down some edges, y'all. I can't wait to see what's going on with Pam's thought process because she asked about that for a reason. So now we have Hayden and Tamara. She's accusing him of stabbing Gary because when she came to the house that day, she saw him leaving with his luggage about to skip town. And he said, I told you it was a work trip. She said, no, I don't think so. She said, because I saw you sitting outside your car at the banquet hall that night he got stabbed. And he's like, you were there? She said, yeah. I had planned to go there to blow up his spot and tell his old lady that we were messing around. She said, I wanted to pay him back. And he lets her know Gary was way messed up before that because he had a wife and kids while he was messing around with her. So that wouldn't have done any difference. She said, well, I wasn't thinking about that. Then all of a sudden he gets a missed voicemail message from Gary and he puts it on speaker and they listen to it. And Gary's asking him to come to the hospital. He needs his help. So Hayden gets up, getting ready to go there. And Tamara's like, why are you going there? Are you crazy? He said, I can't afford to be on his bad side. I need to know what he remembers from that night he got stabbed. And he said, neither can you for that matter. And when he goes upstairs, Tamara says to herself, what are you so afraid of Gary remembering, Hayden? So it's making it look like or seem that Hayden is the one who actually stabbed Gary. But we shall see, because it's just Tyler Perry land. There's always a twist somewhere. So now Hayden comes down all dressed up in a suit and tie. I was like, you just going to the hospital to see a friend. I don't know. This is a business call? Anyway, Tamara's still trying to get him not to go. She said, why he's so afraid unless he's the one who stabbed Gary. And he's like, you watched too much 48 hours. And he just walked out and left to go to the hospital. And that's when Fatima came. But I told y'all about that scene already. Now we over at the hospital and we see Gary being a disgusting little man. And Erica comes in there and she's like, were you able to call your friend? And he said, yes, thanks to you. And she talked about her student loans. And he said, consider them paid. She said, oh, wow, what a relief. He said, I could use a relief myself. And she's like, what do you need? Your pillows, Fluff? What you need? He said, I think you know. And he rolled down his blanket so that she could give him head. I said, ain't this nothing? But let me tell you, little Erica did not have to be pushed too hard. Erica was like, okay, you're going to pay off my student loans, but I am praying that Gary's going to keep his word because he keeps telling her once he gains control of his finances. So that might take some time. But I hope he keeps his promise and not just using Erica and being a little dirt bag that he is. So now Hayden finally shows up and Gary asks him, did he have a problem with getting past security? He said, no, I just slipped him $100 bill and he let me in. So Hayden asked him, what does he need? And he said he needs help with a legal matter. He said that clown Hudson has my power of attorney and I need your help to get me out from under his thumb before it's too late. And Hayden goes, and why should I do that? He said, because you're my guy. We're friends. And then Hayden starts thinking back to that fight that him and Tamara had and when he got to see that video with her and Gary. And then he snapped back out of that dream and Gary said, you all going to help me, right? And he said, of course. You're my brother, Gary. And he's like, I knew I could depend on you. He said, yeah, it's you and me to the bitter end. And that was it, how it went off. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't that great to me because there was always things that didn't make sense to me in the episode with the writing. That's how we all are. We all see these things and it just bothers her. But anyway, put it down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share to this channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.